hydrocarbons. So, dealing with the hydrocarbons, we have to deal first that what is the nature, how many electrons are there inside the carbon atom. So, first we are going to take care of basic about carbon atom. So, basics about carbon atom. As we know that carbon has 6 electrons in their outer shell, or atomic number, sorry. In outer shell, the carbon has at least 4 electrons. Inside first shell, it has 2 electrons. So, carbon has 4 valence shell electrons. That is, its valency is equal to 4. Carbon always makes tetrahedral valency with other atoms. One thing which is very important about the carbon have 4 valency, so that means to complete stable configuration, carbon required 4 more electrons to complete its octet. There are 2 ways for carbon to complete its octet. One is the carbon at least either have 4 electrons from outer side, one way, or another way, the carbon release its 4 electrons from outer shell. Then also carbon can get or requires its helium atom configuration. That is so-called stable configuration. So either 4 electrons either have to join the outer octet or just release all 4 electrons from the outer shell to acquire stable configuration. Either it be helium or neon. So for that, both are very critical. The carbon unable to release 4 electrons from outer shell, and again the same time it has critical to acquire the 4 electrons from outer shell. Why so? This will deal with the chemical bonding. Now I am going to take care of dealing with the hydrogen. The carbon along with hydrogen called hydrocarbon. Hydrogen plus carbon atom together form a covalent bond. So covalent bond, what do you mean by this? Is by sharing of electrons, that is which one? Valential electron together by carbon atom as well as by the other atoms such as oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, etc. So other point which is important, very important, that carbon forms hetero molecule, or you can say heteroatomic compound. So with the help of other atom, when carbon join other atom, this is also again so called heteroatomic. If we call the heteroatomic, that means something so called homoatomic molecules. That is what? Homoatomic molecules is the molecules which forms with the same type of atom like hydrogen H2, oxygen O2, N2, nitrogen, and same type of sulfurate, rhombic, etc. So homoatomic molecules, that so called the molecules which is formed by the same nucleus, by the same atomic nucleus, such as for example H2, N2, O2 or S8, etc. This is so called homoatomic molecules. But about the carbon, we have to see that carbon forms more or less heteroatomic molecules with the hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, nitrogen and sulfur, etc. So now we are going to deal with the heteroatom with the help of hydrogen, so called hydrocarbon. So hydrocarbon are precisely, if we are going to take the hydrocarbon, there are three types of hydrocarbon, two types of hydrocarbons. There are two types of hydrocarbon. Hydrogen with carbon, that is saturated hydrocarbon, and unsaturated. What do we mean by saturated hydrocarbon? That means when carbon atom forms a bond in between other carbon atom with the help of single bond. That is what this single bond called saturated hydrocarbon. That means there is no chance for double or triple bond. In case of unsaturated hydrocarbon, carbon linked together with the help of somewhere at least one double bond must be there, so called unsaturated hydrocarbon. Either double bond or somewhere it may be triple bond with between the carbon atom, so it will whatever you call, we call unsaturated hydrocarbon. That means double or triple bond is what is presence, the most necessary condition for the unsaturated hydrocarbon. That means when carbon link together, carbon with a double bond or triple bond, so called unsaturated hydrocarbon, and with a single bond, this so called saturated hydrocarbon. So now we need here, so what do you mean by saturated and unsaturated? Any examples? So examples like alkane, here is with the example of alkenes and well as alkynes. So example of any molecules for alkane, first and foremost example is methane, that is CH4, ethane, that is C2H6, and propane, C3H8, etc. Similarly, in case of alkene, the example is C2H4, here C2H2, again C3H6, here it may be C3H4, etc. So, name it will you the methane, ethane, propane, here it will be ethene, propene, ethyne and propyne, etc. So now nomenclature will deal with in the next lecture, otherwise later in this class only. But here this is the saturated hydrocarbon, unsaturated hydrocarbon. Now one thing more, the saturated hydrocarbon have three major links. So कितना मिनट? 10. फिर उसमें कंटिन्यू कर दीजिएगा अभी हम दो चीज और कर देते हैं. I told you that what I told you, the saturated hydrocarbon and saturated hydrocarbon. In case of saturated hydrocarbon, we have also compound the cyclic saturated hydrocarbon that is so-called carbon linked together with the carbon in the manner of cycle. And acyclic. Acyclic, this is open chain called acyclic. Acyclic or open chain. There are two types of open chain for saturated hydrocarbon or unsaturated hydrocarbon. This is acyclic, so-called sometimes open and branched chain. Will take little later. So what is that? Cyclic hydrocarbon, cyclic saturated hydrocarbon. Sometimes example of cyclohexane, etc. Cyclohexane. Similarly, in case of alkene and alkynes, in case of unsaturated hydrocarbon, we can have the benzene is the best example for the unsaturated cyclic hydrocarbon. And there are another type that is so called alicyclic hydrocarbon. That means those unsaturated hydrocarbon which never going to get a property of aromaticity. So aromatic carbon hydrocarbon unsaturated is the cyclic one, while unsaturated hydrocarbons so called alicyclic. So we'll take again somewhere else this what do you mean by the aromaticity in case of benzene and all, right? So here again I repeat, hydrocarbon are two types, saturated, unsaturated. In case of saturated, there must be presence of single bond. In case of unsaturated hydrocarbon, double and triple bond may be there. The example of the cyclic hydrocarbon, unsaturated hydrocarbon, cyclic is the benzene. Alicyclic hydrocarbon, they have no any property of aromaticity. In case of saturated cyclic hydrocarbon, that is very good example of cyclohexane, cyclopropane, etc. May I write in this way? Cyclopropane, cyclobutane, somewhere here, cyclopentane, 1-ene. This is what so example of unsaturated hydrocarbon. So this is the one thing what we had deal with the U. Another point is very important, the reactivity of alkanes. So reactivity of alkanes is the, if we call more precisely, that unsaturated hydrocarbon somewhat more reactive than saturated hydrocarbon. That is how. So why this so? Due to presence of angle strain. What do you mean by this angle strain? Is the angle in between the carbon atom and molecule. Suppose that if we have an example of methane here, so if we make an angle in between the hydrogen and carbon atom, so it will be approximate 109 degree 28 minutes. So this angle, what so called somewhat more strained. In case of unsaturated hydrocarbon, if we deal the example of ethyl, there may be the degree that is so called 180 degree in between. In case of triple bond, that is alkyne, we have just 180 degree angle in between. So and I say the angle strain is somewhat the reason why the unsaturated hydrocarbon have greater reactivity than the saturated hydrocarbon. Here is still somewhat more than this. Okay. So this is the again a reason. Now a very good another point is there. So just take care of the hybridization presence in between this carbon and that carbon. So hybridization again I will take this lecture with the help of inside the chemical bonding, but here I just tell you that the carbon which is present in saturated hydrocarbon in case of like alkane. In alkane we have a sp3 hybridization, the carbon sp3 hybridization. Why in case of alkene the carbon here or this carbon have hybridization of sp2, while in case of alkynes we have this carbon either are sp hybridized. And somewhat. So this is the all about the basics of hydrocarbon. In next lecture we deal with the chapter of alkane and alkynes separately. So take care of these basics, revise that, and just give the others for your great revolution of what I had told you, that we have the great revolution with the subscription and just more study for more people. Okay, thank you.